What's good, y'all? My name is Ferris Abanil, and in this video, I'm breaking down the 7 cornerstones of nutrition. Kind of a dumbed down, more simplified resource that I wish I had in the start of my journey. So let's go ahead and dive straight into my MacBook. All right, so in this video, I'm going to be going over pretty much everything that I know about nutrition. I'll try to condense everything into a motherboard of a Mira board. So I'm covering all of this today, and I really feel like if you can understand and apply what I tell you today in this video, and of course take notes, any educational video that I watch, I always make sure I take notes and actually apply the information that I'm listening to and apply it to my life, learn from what I did right or wrong. So I really feel like this can change a lot of people's lives. So let's go ahead and dive in. So having a deep understanding of nutrition is absolutely crucial towards any transformation or progression. And what I mean by this is transformation. If you're trying to lose weight, put on muscle, this will get you there. If you just want to think more clearly, if you want to have more energy, you don't want to have brain fog, crashes during your day, this will help you out with that. And my intention for this video is to break it down in a very, very simple way that you can understand. I'm not going to get too sciencey on that because personally, when I started this journey, I didn't really understand the science behind it. And I feel like when I try to search up things myself, I kind of got lost by all of the science terms brought in with nutrition. And yeah, I want to dumb it down in a way that I understand and hopefully that you can as well. And I want to remind you that any type of new information will not be fully understood at the first time, right? But it's your job, like I just said, to take this information that I talk about today, actually take time to write down what resonates with you in your own words and apply it to your life. And as more time and life experience passes, you will continue to have a deeper and deeper understanding of this topic. And this is why it's a journey and not a destination. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into the 7 cornerstones of nutrition. So, going with number one, whole foods dumbed down. If you know me and what I preach, I constantly talk about how whole foods has literally changed my life. So, I want to dumb it down for you right now. So, what Whole Foods is, it's the real shit that you eat. It's always been there for your life in your life. It's always been there, right? And throughout time, it feels like society has found more and more ways to make food more processed. I think about Twinkies in this example because you could literally put a Twinkie in a box for maybe 40 years. And once those 40 years pass, it looks like the Twinkie has been untouched, which is fucking disgusting. So, real food is minimally processed and unrefined, which means it's the purest form and it retains its nutrients, right? You think about meats, fruits, etc. This picture right here describes it perfectly. And a lot of people are very deficient in nutrients, which are it takes care of your body's function, like your vision, the way your body regulates your temperature, just for example. And a lot of us are very deficient in a lot of nutrients, and that's because we eat processed food that has been stripped out of all of those nutrients. The easiest way to retain and you don't have to supplement for anything, take the multivitamin pills, is actually eating the real shit. So understand the difference between whole foods, processed foods, and ultra processed foods. Whole foods, that's just your fruits, vegetables. The again, think about this picture right here. Processed foods. So this can be like canned veggies, even though it is like a whole food technically, it has preservatives in it. Cheeses also like is pasteurized. I look for unpasteurized milk in the ingredient label when I shop for cheese because some cheeses are whole, some cheeses are processed. Smoked meats as well. And again, it's to they add preservatives to these kind of foods to keep the shelf life for it or add a different flavor such as a smoked salmon. Ultra processed foods, this is something that you're probably a lot more familiar with. So think about sodas, candies, frozen meals especially. I know I used to spam those when I had no time, when I thought I had no time. Packaged snacks, and think about this, right? It is literally subtracting from your life expectancy as you eat those foods. Not literally, but that's how I like to think about it. Every time I eat I remember when I went to King's Dominion, this like roller coaster park with my girl, and we had the chicken tenders there because there was nothing left. Not nothing left, but like the options were very limited, and I was craving chicken tenders at the time. And as I was eating them, I was like, Berkeley, my girlfriend's in Berkeley. It's like, Berkeley, if I die 5 days before the doctor says that I'm gonna die. This is why. This chicken tender right here is why. So I just like to think about it like that, and it kind of, and it's not really. As soon as I pick up an ultra processed food, it's like, all right, I'm gonna die. But it's more the putting it in my subconscious to choose the foods wisely towards what is going to help me out with my longevity and what's actually going to take away from my life expenses expectancy, right? And I want you to think about this, right? Because whether you realize it or not, you're scanning through this video as you're watching it. What is beneficial to me? So, why whole foods? Why should you eat whole foods? There is a version, think about this. There is a version of you who is high energy all the time, doesn't get brain fog, functions high mentally 24/7, can lose weight whenever he or she wants, and is able to run a mile a day at 80 years old. 80 years old. And I'm just talking about longevity here. Obviously, you're not going to get some insane superhuman benefit off of eating just the foods that we were supposed to eat, but you're playing the longevity game. And it's sad because the life expectancy of Americans continues to decrease as food gets more and more processed. So yeah, whole foods dumbed down, and hopefully that's in a way you can understand. Next thing I want to dive into is macronutrients 101. And as you know, calories makes up everything that we eat. And look at this ingredient label right here. Let's break it down real quick, because when I used to look at nutrition labels, I just overlooked it. I got very overwhelmed by a lot of numbers. I didn't really know what it was saying. So I think everyone can tell, like the calorie label right here, it tells you the servings in each container. And this is important because when I used to make pasta dishes when I was a kid, I used to pour the entire box in there. So I was eating 4 times 280 for a dinner. So that's why I got really fat as a kid. But breaking down the macronutrients right here, so it has the proteins, the carbs, and the fat. That's typically what I look at when I shop. What the splits are like for this to support my nutrition and my macro targets. And then it has the micronutrient breakdown right here. And again, we're gonna dive down more and more into this in this video. So if this doesn't really make too much sense to you right now, then yeah, you'll be fine. I'll break it down a little bit more later. So calories are broken down into macronutrients. Macronutrients, everyone's heard about proteins, carbs, fats. That's your main macronutrients. And diving into what specifically proteins, carbs, and fats are, because I didn't know this. Protein is composed of amino acids, which is the building blocks of protein. So carbs are used for energy, and it breaks down to glucose, which fuels the body up. Think about breads, fruits, rice. And fats are also used for energy. So that's like avocado, olive oil, cheese. So you got to understand how to use these macros correctly in order to achieve your physique and operate your body to its fullest potential. And this is done by practicing and listening to your body. The reason why I say that is because to reach your full potential, see like really how your body operates, because I used to deal with a lot of energy crashes. I used to always deal with brain fog, and I was like, bro, there's no way this is how life is just supposed to be. I refuse to operate from going on my days where I crash at 2 p.m. and I just don't feel like doing anything else the rest of my day. So I was thinking, I kept testing, seeing what foods would allow me to operate from a high frequency, a high energy the entire day. So for me, that's more geared towards more fats in my diet, more fats than carbs. And again, we're gonna show you how to break down your specific split for your exact situation later in this video, specifically towards uh, chapter 7, I guess, of the seven cornerstones, cornerstone 7. So learning how to use them correctly is very crucial, and this is not going to be understood fully at first. Just at first glance, like the only way you can really understand it is by putting the reps in. That's how you understand anything, is actually putting yourself through the trenches and actually going through, counting your calories, counting your macros, and seeing how your body reacts to what you're eating. So going on with number 3, the tiny details matter. I'm talking about micronutrients. So there's macronutrients and there's micronutrients. So your food also contains micronutrients, and your body needs them in very small amounts, but it plays a massive, massive role on your health. And breaking down, because I didn't know this for the longest time. So vitamins are organic compounds that regulates your metabolic process. So minerals are inorganic elements to support your physiological functions. So think about like your vision, the way your body regulates your temperature. And we supplement this is really key. I want you to write this down. We supplement for what we're deficient in. That's why you don't supplement with every single vitamin or mineral available. So we supplement for what we're deficient in. And I can't tell you what you're deficient in. So taking a blood test is the most accurate, and it might be necessary to find out what specifically you're deficient in. But lucky for you, the easiest way to go about hitting your micronutrients, and that's again important for achieving those benefits of feeling high energy, no brain fog, no crashes, it's eating foods that are micronutrient rich. So the benefits of hitting your micronutrients, that's energy production, immune function, blood clotting, bone health, vision, skin, strong bones, healthy nerve and muscles, and oxygen transport, and correlates to all of these micros right here, which you can look at. Going into fibers, right? So fibers, it's a type of it's a type of macronutrient, but I want to cover it in the micronutrient section. So it's a type of carb that your body cannot digest, but is actually good for you. So that's your soluble fibers and your insoluble fibers. So that's the two types of fibers. So soluble fibers helps with your slowing down digestion to make you feel more satiated as you're eating. And dumbing you down, it makes you feel full for longer. Think about oats, apples, beans, citrus. That's like oranges and stuff. Insoluble fiber that adds bulk, and you got to think about keeping your gut health regular, make you shit normally. So whole grains, nuts, vegetables. So that's the difference between insoluble and soluble fibers, and that can be very leveraged, especially if you're going into a cut to make you feel full for longer. And again, why this matters, it reduces cravings by making you feel satiated and full for longer, essentially, and supports your healthy digestion and gut bacteria. Moving on to number 4, and again, I'm covering this presentation kind of quick just because it's kind of just surface level right now. And again, once you start actually applying this information, you're going to have so many epiphanies as time goes by. You might look back on this presentation and say, oh, I didn't realize it from this angle. And once you get more life experience, you're going to look back and say, like, I didn't understand it until I actually went through with it and applied the information. So that's why I'm kind of talking surface level right now. So portioning equals results. The example I gave you earlier with the box of pasta that I used to cook up for dinner every single night, about 1,000 calories of carbs from pasta. That is why portioning is so beneficial. And I can't recite verbatim the study, but I know there is a study saying that a guy didn't even count calories and he lost this absurd amount of weight just because he was portioning out his food. And I think this was actually a experiment done with this guy who ate McDonald's for a year, and he was literally just portioning out his food, and he was able to not gain any weight. He didn't have any bad health effects just because he was portioning the right food and actually hitting his targets. So even if you eat clean 100% of the time, that doesn't guarantee the result. And that's the example that I just told you with the guy eating McDonald's for a year straight. He was portioning out his food, which was why he was able to actually lose weight in that year of eating literally just McDonald's. And results are dependent on you hitting your calorie and macro targets. I'm going to help you calculate that later in this video. And to guarantee results, it's going to be tedious, I'll admit. I hated doing it myself. I still do it. But weighing your food to the gram will do it. It doesn't have to be insanely accurate, but again, if you want guaranteed results, to the gram is going to guarantee those damn results. And this is why it's absolutely essential to track your food and understand if your portions are too much for your macro or calorie targets. So going with tracking, I want to say this in this video as well because this is something I talked about, but going without tracking your macros or calories can only be attempted after you actually understand your portion sizes like the back of your hand. I'll give you an example because I went without tracking for about 2 months and I was able to just maintain my weight, which is what I wanted. But I was coming from a position where I had been tracking my macros and calories personally for, I think it was 10 plus, or maybe coming closer to a year. And I also worked at a meal prepping restaurant where I would prep over 1,000 meals a day. So I know what fucking 8 ounces of ground beef looks like. That's why I can say that it can only be attempted. And you can for sure go without tracking calories. But again, that's not really going to guarantee the result. You have to use more willpower and discipline if you go without tracking calories because You kind of just don't know, and you can easily just give in saying, oh, I don't think I got enough calories today. But moving on to number 5, hydration masterclass, diving into why hydration is so important. I get it. You've heard this many, many, many times before. Everyone says, my mom always told me hydration is fucking important. Of course it's important. But why? Why is it actually important? So think about this, right? What does it actually do? Your digestion, nutrient absorption. We just talked about why nutrients are important. Regulate your body temperature, muscle function and performance, skin health, mood, energy, detoxifying through kidneys and liver. That's why when I was always hungover from a night of drinking, I had to just down a ton of water because it would detoxify my kidneys and liver. And think about this too, even mild dehydration leads to fatigue, leads to headaches, lack of concentration, cravings mistaken for hunger. That's why when my girl starts bitching about, oh, I got a headache, I'm like, did you drink enough water today? I'm sure you've been hit with that line before, but it's true. It really causes a lot of problems if you're not hydrated. I mean, we have to be hydrated. So electrolytes are very important as well. It's minerals that have an electrical charge when dissolved in water, and that's crucial for bodily functions like fluid balance, nerve and muscle function, and maintaining your pH levels. And I want to give you like examples of sources for hydration because whole foods literally can keep you hydrated as well. Obviously, you can't just survive solely off of food. You have to have water as well. But bananas has potassium, spinach, magnesium, avocado, sweet potato, coconut water. Coconut water specifically, that is literally the natural electrolyte drink, and it's better than any Gatorade you'll ever get. So coconut water is fucking killer, especially for after a run because I love running. And going into the next part, right? Luckily for you, Whole Foods literally keeps you hydrated. So it serves as a double positive by containing water and delivering nutrients and fiber. I talked about why those are so fucking important. So I broke these down by percentage, but foods that contain water. Lettuce is 95% containing water. Cucumbers, tomatoes, watermelons, strawberries, cantaloupe, oranges, broccoli, all these fruits, all these vegetables containing water. So literally just by eating water, you can start eating fruits and vegetables. It can help you out with your hydration. Obviously, can't solely rely on that, but it does serve again as that double positive. You can fuel up with nutrients and fiber as well. So I want to give you kind of application for this because it's a lot easier said than done. Like if I'm telling you, like, bro, just stay hydrated, but kind of more application of what you can already put into practice after watching this video. So starting your day off with 24 to 32 ounces of water. I personally use Santa Cruz electrolytes, which has a lot of clean ingredients in it. And when I had no money, I would literally use lemon and sea salt because sea salt has sodium, which provides electrolytes, and lemon has it kind of kickstarts your metabolism. I forget specifically in science based why, but it does. Sparkling water can be very useful as well. I'm sure you've heard this before, but it can be good to help you feel satiated for longer. Again, that fuller feeling for when you're not eating for a while, you can just drink sparkling water, and again, that full feeling. Like any habit, you want to make it easy by keeping a water bottle right next to you 24/7 instead of trying to rely on yourself to remember to bring a water bottle where you go. Just bring it with you, bro. It's like think about this, like we need water. We literally need water. I kind of think about when I play video games like Minecraft's not a good example. I love Minecraft. But there's this one video game I played as a kid. I think it's called like Survival Ark or something, and you have to keep water on you. So I just think about like it's that game is replicated off of how life is actually lived, and you have to keep water on you, so it only makes sense. And it actually reminds you when you need water. And humans, we are kind of oblivious to that, and we kind of ignore the signs of our body saying, all right, bro, you need water. So instead of just relying on your body to actually tell you when you need water, just carry it right next to you. It's the easiest thing for you. Last thing, adding lemon, cucumber, or mint to your water for flavor and micronutrients as well. I don't really personally do that. I don't really like it, but again, I just want to provide everything that I know. Going into number 6, the deceiving eye. This is going to be very important. And 1 through 6 5 where it was mainly foundational stuff, but this is like my addition to the presentation. So the deceiving eye. Something I ate frequently as a kid, but I had no clue how bad it was for me was Doritos. Right here, I ate a lot of not just Doritos, but like any packaged snack like that, and I didn't know how bad it was for me with ingredients like listen to this. Try to pronounce this yourself: monosodium glutamate, red 40, yellow 5, corn oil, soybean oil, maltodextrin, and many other preservatives. And the long-term effects of these overlooked ingredients that you literally did not even pronounce nor know it was in your vocab. Hyperactivity in children, for me, that's very familiar sounding because I tended to be very hyper as a kid because I'd eat snacks like this. I didn't even know it. So I self-analyzed and self-reflected. High blood pressure, cardiovascular issues, and very high doses cancer later in the line. But you look at the ingredient label. This is what I tell my clients. I ask them, I'm like, bro, if you pick up a food and you cannot pronounce an ingredient on the label, put that shit back. And if you bro, pause this video right now and try to pronounce half of these ingredients right here because it's impossible. And if you can't pronounce it, why the fuck are you putting it in your body? Now, obviously, we know junk food is deemed bad, but it's not just the ultra processed foods that are terrible for you. Processed food as well has corrupt ingredients, and I gave an example in this instant rice packet. Instant rice is something that I use personally, but this would be I use the one where the ingredients are specifically just organic jasmine brown rice, not brown rice, but organic jasmine rice or organic brown rice. This has added preservatives to help keep the shelf life, like canola oil or sunflower oil or soy. So it's the things that are overlooked, and it seems healthy, like, oh, rice is good for you. It has like healthy carbs, which it does, but if it's prepackaged like this and it has preservatives, it's not the best thing for you. So that's why I say that it's very overlooked. And it's very difficult to avoid these foods 100% of the time. But that's why Whole Foods is so beneficial. Because I know personally, like, I can't avoid it for 365 days of the year. I can't avoid ultra processed foods and processed foods. Like, it's gonna happen at some point, but the goal is to eat whole foods almost 90% of the time. And it won't come to you at first. And I'm talking about like looking at an ingredient label and seeing like, is this food bad for me or not? But like anything, once you practice it more and more, you'll have the discernment to look at an ingredient label and understand if it is good or bad for you. And here's a list to help you with what to look for when you're looking at an ingredient label. A short ingredient list: ingredients you recognize, no sugar added or zero sugar added, no artificial colors, flavors, preservatives, non GMO or organic certification. It just means that it has fewer pesticides and it's better sourcing of food. The best part, listen to this, the best part, basing your diet off whole foods literally does not require you at all to look at ingredient labels. Because if you think about broccoli, if you think about like actual organic and fresh chicken, it doesn't have ingredient labels. So that's why you might not even have to worry about looking at labels and seeing like, is this bad for me or not? Getting into the actual juicy part of this video and the actual game plan. So crafting the game plan, right? Knowledge cannot become, information cannot become knowledge unless applied. I've been stressing that the entire duration of this video. So instead of leaving you informed and slightly motivated today, I want to actually help you understand practical application of how to reach that desired state, which if you don't know what that desired state looks like for you, I very much advise you to take 30 minutes, put your phone in another room, turn the lights off, and just sit in silence and actually listen to yourself for a second. Actually understand where you want this direction to go, because if you are a man with no direction, you're not going to get anywhere in life. You have to have a direction. You have to have a vision of what your desired state looks like. For me, that's a guy who is high energy all the time, who doesn't get brain fog, who doesn't have energy crashes, who is a lean physique and doesn't have any fat on him. So I have that desire, I have that vision in my head, and that's what I'm constantly aligning myself towards. That's what my actions on a daily basis align towards. So let's go ahead and dive into this part. So understand a surplus, a maintenance, and a cut. Depending on your physique goals, you will be following one of the three splits. Understand that your body has a maintenance amount of calories it needs in a day. So if you literally just sit on your ass all day, you don't do anything at all, your body needs a certain amount of calories to just maintain that weight. If you don't eat anything at all, you'll lose weight. If you eat too much of that maintenance, you will gain weight, obviously. So again, phrasing that in a different way, eating below, you lose weight, and eating above, you gain weight. So actually going through the game plan, let's go ahead and dive into it. So based on your height, sex, weight, age, and activity level, you will determine your calories and macro target. And because I don't know you specifically in this video what all of this information means to you and how it's different from me, let's go ahead and use a chat GBT prompt because it's going to give you a way better answer than I ever will in this video, for what your specific goals are and actually a game plan for it. So we'll use my exact example in this. So I'm 20 years old. I'm a male. I weigh 175 pounds at the moment. I am 6 foot, and I work out 6 foot, and I work out about 3 to 5 times a week. I just put like a range for that, 3 to 5 times, and I work out 3 to 5 times a week. And help me calculate a calorie target to be in a cut. Again, this is specific towards your goal. So if I had a lot of excess fat on my body and I just wanted to lean out, lose all that fat, put on muscle at the same time, then I'm going to ask to be in a cut. If I'm very skinny right now and I want to put on muscle and put on weight, then I'm going to see what would it look like for me to be in a bulk. If you're happy with the physique you have right now, you just want to maintain, or you have something specific you're training for that you have to be at a certain weight, then you would want to maintain. And you want to be in this 30%, 50%, 20% split. Again, this might be a little bit specific towards me and my goals, but it's just the example for you. You always want to be, the calculation I use is for every pound of weight you have, you want to eat that amount of protein. That's how you retain and put on muscle. And example, right? I've tried losing weight in the past where I just didn't eat that much in a day. And because my protein intake wasn't hitting that 160 range at the time when I was 160, my body would feed off of my muscles for energy because I was not eating enough. So I would lose weight. Like I dropped down to like 155 and I would lose weight, but it would be feeding off of my muscles. So I had like that awkward looking skinny fat physique just because I wasn't eating the right split of macros. So that's why macros are so important. And this is something that I found very beneficial to me and some of my other clients as well, because not eating too many carbs in a day, only if you're not working out, is beneficial towards keeping your energy high, not having crashes, not having brain fog. So let me go ahead and break this down and show you how ChatGPT is going to give you a very, very good answer. So it's saying that my approximate maintenance would be at 26 to 28. It's going to give you the final thing. So if I'm cutting, I want to be at 2,200 calories, about 170 grams of protein, 125 fat, and 113 carbs. So much better answer than I ever will give you. And this is how I'll do it, right? So your approximate maintenance, and it's not going to be as accurate as a body scan would give you, because that gives you your exact amount of fat you have in your body compared to lean muscle, and that would give you a more exact amount of calories, or RMR test where it gives you the exact amount of maintenance calories you need in a day. But as you go on, you apply this information, you actually go through, you eat this specific amount of calories in a day. Your weight is literally a feedback loop. If you are eating 2,200 calories in a day and you're trying to cut and you lose weight, you're doing the right thing. If you're trying to eat 2,200 calories in a day and you're either maintaining or gaining weight, then either you're just not doing it, you're bullshitting yourself, or you're eating too much. So you want to go down to like 2,000 calories a day. I wouldn't change anything more than 300 calories at a time. That's just what I've been told, and it would be a little bit too extreme if you go like from 300 calories in a day to 1,800 or 1,600. That's very, very extreme. So I wouldn't do anything at like I would give it a couple of weeks of like working my way up to that range. So that's my split, right? So I beat about 2,200 calories for the day. What did it say? Like 170 grams protein, and then I would be sorry, and then I would be at 125 and 13. So 125 grams carbs and 113 grams of fat. So I would put this into my macro tracking app. I use an app called Lose It. A lot of people use MyFitnessPal. I like Lose It better. I'd put those in as my targets, and it is your absolute job to be within 5 grams of that protein target and be under 5 calories of that caloric target. And this will, like I was saying, bro, this will make or break your results. So if you're specifically trying to lose weight or gain muscle, if you're in that cut or bulk, this will make or break your results, whether or not you're able to actually stick in that range. And this is just what I tell my clients, because I like, it's very hard to be gram by gram accurate for your macros in a day. So that just gives you some leeway in case it's a little bit inaccurate. So under 50 calories of that caloric target and within 5 grams of that protein target. So if my target was 170, I could eat between 175 to 165. If my caloric target is 2,200, I would eat no more than 2,150 for my calories. And last thing, bro, like I just said, that weight will serve as the feedback loop towards whether you're doing the right things or wrong, and show us absolute proof towards whether you're putting on progress or bullshitting. Again, I know I covered a lot in this presentation today, and that's all I had to talk about today. But I hope you took away something in this video. I hope something resonated with you. I hope you apply this information instead of actually just listening and not doing shit with this. This can really fucking change your life, because I know it did for me personally, and I really want to share this. And I hope you take this lesson and apply it. And bro, I'd be excited to see some transformations from this video. DM me. I answer all of my DMs if you have any questions regarding anything I covered today. Other than that, I really appreciate you for watching up to this part of this video, and I will see you later. Peace.